What's up, guys? We have week two of the League of Superheroes scoreboard here. Still kind of hard for me getting used to the new league name, but we have. I was just looking at this scoreboard right here, so I guess we'll just get this started. We have me and Yates, and I just got absolutely nuked by Mahomes and Melvin Gordon. Now, Pittsburgh and the Chiefs, the Steelers and Chiefs game start at 1 o'clock, and the same thing with the Chargers game. All start at 1. And by I would say 1:45, I already knew I was going to lose. Maybe even before that, maybe like 1:30, because Mahomes had like 3 touchdowns in the first. Gordon had 2 of his touchdowns, and it just I was just done by that time. It's just crazy. You just know early on you're just absolutely finished. Um, I just got completely nuked for the second week in a row. Kaleem dropped 140 on me before, or last week, and now got Yates. So it's funny because my team didn't even have that bad of a week. I had Michael Thomas and Thielen get me 50 combined, and everywhere else is kind of average, other than Peyton Barber, who should be Le'Veon Bell, but whatever. Um, but in reality, I mean, the 2 games I had, I mean, I've scored over. I think I scored over 110 last week, I believe, and this week I have like 109. So I mean, that's definitely enough to win some matchups. It's just I got nuked 2 times in a row. Melvin Gordon having a great year so far. Mahomes is just unbelievable. It's unbelievable what Mahomes has done, and we're everywhere else he was above average in wide receivers, and my team just couldn't compete with that. I mean, even his bench, even Andy Dalton had 26. That's unbelievable. So there's really nothing else I could have done in this. So I guess we'll just move on to. We'll go to George and JD. George is now 2-0, and that's pretty impressive considering that his 2 running backs only had a combined looks like 14 points, and still was able to score 122. JD came back down to earth a little bit this week. He only had 78 and didn't have much of a good performance out of anyone, other than maybe Tyler Lockett, which was a good pickup or draft pick by him. I'm not sure which one. Let's see. He was drafted. Okay, he was drafted. So it was a good draft pick by him. Gronk got kind of shut down by everybody on the Jags. It kind of happens against the Jaguars defense. Diggs and Cousins really have a good connection. I've watched a good amount of those 2 games, and Diggs looks like a superstar with Cousins. A great athlete and runs great routes too. Diggs is definitely someone who I kind of targeted going into this year, but didn't think he was going to be this. That's for sure. Um, so yeah, George is 2-0. Is always good. He always has a good team in this league, um, and he hasn't even got that many good performances out of David Johnson or Jordan Howard yet. So it's definitely a team that's you should definitely watch out for. As George's um, a lot of blowouts, a lot of blowouts. SN versus Bill, who in which Bill got back on the winning track last year, the defending champion. Uh, let's see, Deshaun Watson definitely did not have a good game in real life, but he had a pretty above average, probably pretty good fantasy game with 23 points. Uh, Everywhere else is kind of even, pretty spread out. I think he has Fournette. Yeah, he has Fournette. He won without Fournette, which is pretty impressive. Uh, Collins definitely will pick up his pace a little bit. Hopkins came alive late. I know that because I was playing against Hopkins in another league, and he came back to bite me. Tyreek always has one big play, it seems like. And Nelson Aguilar quietly has had a pretty good, solid 2 games so far this year. For some reason, it's not popping up, but even the first game against the Falcons, he had like 8 catches. So he's a little sneaky target right there. SN definitely came back down to earth a little bit as well. James Conner and Zeke, his two running backs, leading the way. He actually didn't have that too bad of a week. 90 points isn't that great in our current league setup now, but it definitely could have beat a couple teams. He got screwed over by the Fitzgerald injury, I believe. Uh, yeah, that's not good. Hamstring is not good, especially for an old dude, and especially in that offense as well. Uh, and Peterson definitely did not replicate what he did. He actually had some really good performances on his bench. Let's see if he could have done anything here. I don't think so. I mean, even if he replaced Chris Thompson with Peterson, that's an extra 10. Yeah, I don't really see anything. Maybe Galladay over Fitzgerald, but Fitzgerald's his number one wide receiver. So not really much you could have done in this game. Bills team just had a really good week, and looks like they'll continue that because I really like Bills team. So let's move along. We have Hassan and Mo, and Hassan literally just detonated on Mo right here. 160, I believe. I think that has to be the high. I don't think last week we got to 160. Let's see what he did. Matt Breida, the most. Never would have saw 23 points coming out of Matt Breida. He had one really long run. Yeah, because he only had 11 attempts, so that had to come off at least one run. So I think there's one really long touchdown run. He dropped 160, and his first pick didn't even do anything that much. He really didn't do that much here. 11 points at Antonio Brown. So this is pretty impressive. AJ Green and Travis Kelce. It started early for Hassan this week because AJ Green had 3 touchdowns on Thursday. So a really good week. Even the Bears defense, Powell, just basically, it didn't really all come from one guy. It came from basically every single person on his roster. And Mo didn't even have that bad week either. I mean, he scored 107. Roethlisberger got him 39. Wow, I think Roethlisberger got more points than Mahomes did. I think that's pretty crazy. So let me see this. Because he had a rushing touchdown. Okay. So not too bad here. I mean, 107. Odell kind of screwed him over. He screwed me over in another league. His running backs, he's in a little trouble with his running backs because Devonta Freeman got hurt and he didn't have Tevin Coleman as his backup, which, I'm very aware of my shortcomings with my backup running backs too because I missed out on James Conner. Hogan came back to life. Other than that, I mean, Kenyon Drake had a decent game against the Jets. So me and Mo definitely be looking for running backs this week. That's what it looks like in both 0-2 teams. 2 more games. So Kaleem scores 140 against my team and then gets half that against Gunn. And I would have beat Kaleem this week if I played him. It's just, fantasy football, man. That's what it does to you sometimes. That's how it works. 2 performances, not the greatest. I mean, Kareem Hunt, Dalvin Cook had decent games, I guess. Cam Newton was his highest point scorer. Ertz had a decent game as well. Not really much. And what also hurt him is that his kicker got scratched, I believe, right before the game, or maybe he didn't play at all. So looks like Kaleem is going to be looking for a running back too because Mixon is out next couple weeks. He has a couple backups, so I guess he might not be. He has Lindsey on the bench. So, yeah, he's still in decent shape here. It just stinks that I just got nuked by him last week, and then, they dropped 73. So, that's fantasy football. And then the last game of week 2, we have Fawad and AK. Gurley just absolutely looked in complete control. I mean, I know he only had 20 attempts for like 42 yards, but it just seemed like the entire, he could have scored when he wanted to. He just was non-competitive, and that's 30 points. And I believe he didn't play that much in the second half either. I remember he went back to the locker room with some type of cramping issue. So I don't know if he came back after that, but it was really the most nonchalant 30-point game you could ever see. I mean, it was pretty crazy how it just looks so easy. Um, and then everywhere else, literally across the board, is just solid. Uh, 17 points from Evans, 17 points from Hilton. Um, Evans' comeback year this year. I wasn't so sure about Evans, but I mean, this is with Fitzpatrick, so we'll see if he comes back down to earth a little bit with Fitzpatrick. But I mean, so far so good. He even had a good game without with Brady doing that much either. So Fawad's definitely got a solid team. AK again, not that bad of a performance. It just wasn't good enough. Kamara came back down. The whole Saints offense came back down to earth a little bit, or it could have been that the Browns defense was actually might be pretty decent. So we'll see. But it looks like the Browns might actually get a couple wins this year. We'll see. Cooks had a good. Cooks had a really good game. He had 7 catches, 159 yards. If one of those were touchdowns, we're talking about like top 10 wide receiver performance this week. So yeah, that's the week 2 scores wrapped up. Let's see. Well, let's see if AK could have done anything, because it's only a 9-point deficit here. Yeah, I mean he could have started Funchess over McGinn, but that really wouldn't have done anything. Oh, Ridley. Yeah, Ridley. I remember him complaining. If he started Ridley, he still would have been a little bit closer, but he would have really had to change up his team a lot, and that's not, he went with the best lineup, I would thought. So it just stinks that Ridley didn't go off for him this week like he did. Or it stinks that, he started Ridley last week, and then this week he didn't do anything when he benched him. Um, so that's it for this week. Let's look at the week 3 matchups. Fawad and me, that's going to be a really good matchup. I'm hoping my team gives me something, because I need something here, because I'm going to be 0-3. What it looks like, it looks like I'm going to be 0-3, but you never know. JD and Bill, George and Mo. We have 2-0 and 0-2 again. This is and again, Mo's in the same position as me essentially. SN and Hassan, 2 up and down teams right here. Kaleem and AK, and then you got Gunn and Yates. 2 pretty good matchups this week. Week 3, this is when you start to see some teams start to separate a little bit. It's still kind of early. You guys obviously know 2 years ago I started off 6-0 and missed the playoffs. So I mean, obviously people have time, but this is when you start to see a little bit of separation, and then by week 5, everyone kind of knows when what the good teams are. So no reason to panic just quite yet, unless you're a Le'Veon Bell owner, then maybe like me. But other than that, I mean, that's kind of it. Let me see if there's anything crazy yet. We got the power weight rankings here. So Fawad does this based off of a lot of different variables that I am definitely not smart enough to understand. But everything looks pretty solid. I mean, this is kind of what you would expect after the 2 weeks. I guess we should take a quick look at the standings. Here are the standings. So we have George in first, Hassan in first, tied with SN. I am in last, 0-2, with Yates and Kaleem tied at the Guardians of the Galaxy division. And we have a pretty good division here with Fawad leading with AK and Gunn at 1-1. Scoring leaders, it's kind of tough to see with all broken up here, but it looks like after 2 weeks with his huge performance, this is a trade offer, for another league. Um, with his huge performance last week, Hassan is the leading scorer of the league, followed by Fawad, who's been solid through the first 2 weeks, then Yates, the top three. Um, yep, that's kind of it for this week. We'll be back again next week. I'm hoping maybe for Tuesday, but if not, latest by Wednesdays. So any big, nothing really big here in the pickup. So that's it, guys. I'll see you guys all next week, and we'll see if there's any trades. Some teams might start to panic, including me. So we'll see.